Hello everyone! Today we're diving into a logical fallacy that may seem intuitive on the surface, but conceals deeper flaws beneath: the appeal to tradition. This fallacy operates on the simple notion that something is right or acceptable simply because it has been practiced or believed for a long time. While traditions often hold cultural significance, using their longevity as proof of their correctness leads us into problematic reasoning. The core idea behind the appeal to tradition is this: because something has existed for a long time, it must be right, effective, or justified. This line of reasoning appears frequently in debates about societal norms, institutional practices, and even academic discussions. However, the fallacy lies in assuming that historical continuity automatically equates to rational or moral validity. To better understand, let's draw on a philosophical concept from Plato's Allegory of the Cave. In the cave, prisoners are only able to see shadows cast on the wall and assume those shadows are the entirety of reality because it's all they've ever known. In a similar vein, those who appeal to tradition tend to believe that certain practices are correct simply because they've never thought to question them. The tradition becomes a shadow of reality, one that feels comfortable but may not withstand scrutiny under a more critical light. Let's start by dissecting the main issue with this line of reasoning. Longevity does not imply legitimacy. While history and tradition can offer us lessons, they don't provide a valid argument in themselves for why something should persist today. As philosopher David Hume observed, you cannot derive an ought from an is. In other words, the mere fact that something has existed in the past doesn't justify its continued existence without further rational support. Consider a historical example. For centuries, women were excluded from participating in politics, education, and many other sectors of society. This exclusion was considered natural and even just by those who defended it based on long-standing tradition. However, as society evolved, it became clear that this practice was unjust and discriminatory. The length of a tradition, in this case, did nothing to validate its morality or effectiveness. The appeal to tradition is tempting because it offers a sense of security and stability. People tend to believe that if something has been done for a long time, there must be a good reason for it. This taps into a cognitive bias known as status quo bias, where individuals prefer to keep things as they are, rather than face the uncertainty of change. Change introduces risks, and tradition feels like a reliable anchor in the face of such unknowns. However, this mindset often prevents deeper inquiry. As Aristotle once said, everything has a cause. We should not accept traditions at face value, but rather question and analyze their underlying rationale. Only by understanding the original reasons for a practice can we determine whether those reasons still hold true today. Consider the historical medical practice of bloodletting. For centuries, doctors believed that draining blood from a patient could cure various ailments by removing harmful substances from the body. This practice persisted for hundreds of years, and its longevity led many to believe it was effective. However, with the advent of modern medical science, it became clear that bloodletting was not only ineffective, but potentially harmful. This example demonstrates that the mere existence of a tradition over time does not guarantee its validity. Scientific progress revealed its flaws, and the practice was eventually abandoned. To avoid falling into the trap of the appeal to tradition, we must first separate tradition from rationality. While traditions may hold cultural or sentimental value, we need to go beyond their surface appeal and question whether they are still rationally justified in the current context. Next, we need to cultivate a questioning mindset. Whenever we encounter a tradition or long-standing rule, we shouldn't simply accept it as right or good because it has always been that way. Instead, we should ask, why does this tradition exist? Does it still serve its purpose or is it outdated? As Socrates demonstrated through his method of questioning, the key to uncovering hidden assumptions is to challenge them directly. Finally, we must embrace change rather than fear it. As Adam Smith noted in The Wealth of Nations, societal prosperity depends on innovation and improvement, not blind allegiance to tradition. Traditions can be valuable, but rational judgment and critical thinking are what allow us to make better decisions in a complex and evolving world. In conclusion, the appeal to tradition fallacy teaches us that time alone cannot prove truth. The longevity of a tradition does not replace the need for independent reasoning and analysis. While we should respect tradition, we must also approach it with critical thinking. Only by questioning and evaluating the practices handed down through time can we ensure that they continue to serve our needs in the modern world. So, next time you encounter a tradition, ask yourself, is it valuable because it has lasted, or has it lasted because it is truly valuable? The answer will guide you toward a more thoughtful and reasoned approach to understanding tradition. Thank you for watching, and I hope this discussion helps sharpen your critical thinking when it comes to evaluating long-held beliefs and practices.